In the present world, we have come to believe that we can do anything with the help of new technological advancements. But what we are about to see now is something unbelievable. Yet another breakthrough has been made to amaze us. The Meta AI can tell which words you hear by reading your brainwaves. Amazing, right? Welcome to another video of incredible tech. In today's video, we will see more about Meta AI's new research. Meta AI is building an AI that can read brainwaves. Meta is an artificial intelligence academic laboratory belonging to Meta Platforms Incorporated, formerly known as Facebook, focused on generating knowledge for the AI community. Researchers at Meta are working on new ways to study the workings of the human mind. On August 31st, 2022, they announced that research scientists of Meta AI have developed AI that can hear what someone's hearing by studying brainwaves. The Meta AI conducted a study on adult participants who listened to stories and sentences read aloud while scientists recorded their brain activity using various devices. The researchers fed this data into an AI model, hoping to find patterns. They wanted the algorithm to understand or determine what participants were listening to based on their brain's magnetic and electrical activity. The AI program analyzed snippets of brain activity from people listening to recorded speech. These brainwaves are matched to a long list of possible speech segments that the person may have heard. The algorithm's prediction produces the 10 most likely possibilities. Over 70% of the time, its top 10 list contains the correct answer. In the experiment, the AI studied a pre-existing database of 169 people's brain activity, which was collected as they listened to recordings of others reading. The brainwaves were recorded using MEG, or electroencephalography, which non-invasively measures brain signals' magnetic or electric components. The researchers gave the AI 3-second segments of brain activity. First, a list of more than 1,000 possibilities were given. Then, the algorithm was asked to pull the 10-second recordings the person had most likely heard. The AI wasn't very successful with the activity from EEG reading, but for the MEG data, its list hid the right sound recording most of the time. In the past, the work for decoding speech from brain activity has always been dependent on invasive methods that require surgery. In this new research, the scientists use brain activity measured with non-invasive technology. Presently, the research is done by the Facebook Artificial Intelligence Research Lab, and not directed top-down by Meta, and it is not designed for a commercial purpose. The findings currently have limited practical applications, but the researchers hope to help people who can't communicate verbally or use gestures in typing, especially patients who have suffered severe brain injuries. The existing techniques to help these people communicate involve risky brain surgeries. Its drawback is that MEG machines are too costly and impractical for widespread use. In addition, MEG scans might never be able to capture the required details of the brain to improve the findings. Another drawback pointed out by the experts is that the AI required a list of possible sound snippets to select from rather than coming up with the correct answer. The study has only examined speech perception and not its production. For the betterment of mankind, future technology has to figure out what people are trying to communicate, and this will be extremely challenging. Being able to decode brainwaves will bring great changes in the future. This research will be very helpful for people who have lost the ability to speak to communicate again, and could ultimately provide better ways for people to interact with computers. Meta researchers have shown that they identify what words someone hears using recordings from non-invasive brain scans. In a paper, it was reported by the team that they had developed an artificial intelligence system that can predict what words a person is listening to based on brain activity recorded using non-invasive brain-computer interfaces. It's invasive to put an electrode inside someone's brain, so they wanted to try an alternative way to use non-invasive recordings of brain activity, and the main aim was to build an artificial intelligence system that could decode brain responses. The researchers depended on 4 pre-existing brain activity data collected from 169 people as they were listening to recordings of people speaking. Each volunteer was then recorded using either MEG or EEG, which used different kinds of sensors to pick up the brain's electrical activity from outside the skull. In the approach, the brain and audio data were split into 3-second long snippets and fed into a neural network that looked for patterns that could connect the two. After the AI is trained heavily for many hours on this data, they tested on previously unseen data. The placement of an electrode on the patient's motor cortex allows them to decipher neural activity, thereby facilitating the patient's interaction with the outside world. The objective was to program a computer to analyze how a listener's brain processed a story being told. The system performed the best on one of the MEG datasets, where it acquired a top 10 accuracy of 72.5%. That means that when it ranked the 10 words with the most probability of being linked to the brainwave segment, the accurate word was found 72.5% of the time. The AI system can decode the brain's responses to spoken stories. In addition, the AI can be further trained to learn to decode noisy and variable recordings of brain activity from perceived speech. Decoding speech from brain activity has been a goal of neuroscientists and clinicians for a long time, but most progress depends on invasive brain recording techniques. So, the goal here is to delegate these two challenges to an artificial intelligence system by learning to align representations of speech and representations of brain activity in response to speech. Non-invasive recordings are noisy and can greatly differ across recording sessions and individuals for various reasons, including where the sensors are placed and the differences in each person's brain. The model they used is called Wave2Vec 2.0, an open-source AI tool developed in 2020 by the FAIR team that can be used to detect correct speech from noisy audio. The tool was then tasked with 4 open-source EEG and MEG recordings, consisting of 150 hours of volunteers listening to audiobooks and isolated sentences in English. These recordings later became the training set for the Wave2Vec 2.0 model, which would be further used to improve its ability to identify potential words that an individual heard. The EEG and MEG recordings are put into a brain model, which consists of a standard deep convolutional network with residual connections. EEG and MEG recordings are also affected by an individual's brain anatomy, differences in the location and timing of neural functions across brain regions, and the position of the sensors during a recording session. These factors imply that analyzing brain data generally requires a complex engineering pipeline crafted to realign brain signals on a template brain. They have designed a new subject embedding layer, which is trained end-to-end to align all brain recordings in a common space. With the given snippet of brain activity, the AI can determine from a large pool of new audio clips that the person most likely heard. Then the algorithm determines the words the person has most actually heard. These devices provide clearer signals than non-invasive methods, but require neurosurgical interventions. While results from that work suggest that decoding speech from recordings of brain activity is more feasible, decoding speech with non-invasive approaches would provide a safer, more scalable solution that could benefit many more people. This is challenging since non-invasive recordings are notoriously noisy and vary greatly across recording sessions and individuals. Facebook AI has addressed these challenges by creating a deep learning model. This model is trained with contrasting learning and then using it to optimize non-invasive speech sounds in brain recordings. For this, they have used Wave2Vec 2.0. This model was then used to identify the complex representations of speech in the brains of volunteers listening to audiobooks. They have focused on 2 non-invasive technologies, electroencephalography, EEG, and magnetoencephalography, MEG, which measure the fluctuations of electric and magnetic fields elicited by neuronal activity respectively. By using hundreds of sensors, both systems can take approximately 1,000 snapshots of macroscopic brain activity every second. Their analysis further shows that several algorithm components were beneficial to decoding performance. It shows that the algorithm improves with the number of EEG and MEG recordings. Practically, their approach benefits from pulling large amounts of heterogeneous data and could help improve the decoding of small datasets. This analysis is important because in many cases it could be difficult to collect a lot of data for a given participant. The results of Meta's research are remarkable on their own, but will require further research and development before the results can be replicated and converted into anything with commercial implementation. This research has yet another breakthrough that amazed us. The future holds for much more surprises. Stay tuned for more videos like this. Don't forget to share and leave this video a big thumbs up. Also, subscribe to this channel for more such content.